This is Justin, Lizette, and Jeffrey's project on the civil rights movement. Our topic is the Montgomery Bus Boycott.
Our central question is, explain the significance of Rosa Parks and the Montgomery Bus Boycott and why it became such a prominent event in the civil rights movement. Rosa Parks is famous for her protests on the bus, and her bravery sparked protests which brought about great change in the social structure of our society.
In the past, buses were split by color. White people were always given priority for the seats in the front, and any people of color would be forced to move to the back and make room for them. Yet one woman was brave enough to defy this rule at that time. Her name was Rosa Parks. On December 1st, 1955, she refused to leave her seat in the white section of the bus, leading to her arrest. Her arrest sparked outrage within the African American community. Rosa Parks was also active in the National Association of Advancement of Colored People. Since she served as their secretary, she had the support of the NAACP when she was arrested, and was able to be bailed out by one of the members. Parks' action garnered a lot of attention at that time, causing other civil rights activist groups, such as the Women's Political Council, to support Parks in her trial as well.
As a response to the treatment of Rosa Parks, many people took part in what became known as the Montgomery Bus Boycott. About 40,000 African American bus riders, which is 75% of the city's bus riders, boycotted the bus system. The boycott eventually led to demands for the invalidation of the segregation laws on the bus, with a group of 5 Montgomery women attempting to sue the city in court. African American leaders banded together in order to establish carpools and organize meetings in order to keep the boycott organized and sustained.
At the same time that the boycott was happening, the Supreme Court debated over integration. The Supreme Court decided that segregating people by race went against the 14th Amendment, which guarantees that all citizens have equal rights. This led to integration on December 21, 1956. Rosa Parks' bus incident was significant because it played a leading role in fighting segregation by bringing the issue of segregation to public discussion. During this time, the African American leaders met and formed the Montgomery Improvement Association. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was elected as the president of this association. The association worked to foster change in the city and demand better treatment of African American citizens.
The Supreme Court ruled that any form of racial segregation on the bus would be a violation of the 14th Amendment. This amendment guarantees equal rights to all citizens regardless of race. The city appealed to the U.S. Supreme Court, and the court complied, leading to integration in December 1956. Buses began to be unsegregated, which helped signify the end of the boycott. However, integration was still met with violence and resistance, such as when a sniper had shot and shattered the legs of a pregnant African American passenger. Members of the Ku Klux Klan were later caught in a bombing attempt on King's house, leading to the end of the bus-related violence. These were the struggles that this movement had faced to finally reach integration. Following integration, the civil rights movement began to progress, and Martin Luther King, in his new higher influential position, began to advocate further for racial equality, such as with his I Have a Dream speech.
Overall, Rosa Parks and the Montgomery Bus Boycott were imperative to the civil rights movement of the mid-1950s for multiple reasons. It brought up the discussion that everyone was avoiding regarding segregation and racial discrimination. It was a well-known case because it evoked sympathy to induce change, eventually leading to integration. And it was one of the first major-scale protests of the civil rights movement and paved the way for other significant figures like Martin Luther King Jr. All in all, these series of events were a turning point in history because it signified that African Americans had had enough of the way they were treated and demanded the rights they deserved.